So you've watched my last video on how to use the sine rule, and now you want to know how to use the cosine rule. Watch this video and I'll explain. So the cosine rule is an absolute monster. It looks like this. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. You need to know this formula for the exam. The way I remember it is that the first part is like Pythagoras, and then we have whatever is, if you have b squared and c squared, then you're going to have 2bc. So if you have a squared and b squared, then you're going to have 2ab. And also, if you start with the side a, you're going to end with cos a. So if I start with b squared, I'm going to end with cos b. A squared, I'm going to end with cos a. The best way to remember this formula is literally to write it out every time you have an example of these. So let's start with our first example. Looking at this example, I know I need to use the cosine rule because it's not a right angle triangle and I don't have a pair anywhere. I have side, angle, side. So that means I need to use the cosine rule. So in this case, we're looking for r, which is opposite angle r, 117. So we know our cosine rule, and it's that a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. If I rewrite this using the letters of a triangle, I can get that r squared equals p squared plus q squared minus pq cos r. Now I'm going to substitute in the numbers I know. So I can get that r squared equals 6.9 squared plus 2.6 squared minus 2 times 6.9 times 2.6 times cos 117. Now most people make a mistake here in solving. What I would recommend you do is solve the last part first, the part which corresponds to 2bc cos a. So in this case, I'm going to work out the 2 times 6.9 times 2.6 times cos 117. Now if I put this in my calculator, I'll get that this equals negative 16.289, etc. I want to make you aware of the negative in front of the 2. So when I rewrite this, I'll get that r squared equals 6.9 squared plus 2.6 squared minus a negative 16.289. So just a quick reminder again of that negative in front of the 2. So if we solve the right hand side, we'll get that r squared equals 70.65. Now it's just a case of square rooting the 70.65, and we'll get that the square root of 70.65 will give us r equals 8.40. Now looking at the triangle, this answer makes sense because it's the longest side and it's opposite the largest angle. And now for our next example. Pupils find these type of questions tricky because it's using the cosine rule to find an angle. But just follow these steps and you'll be able to do it. Looking at this example, I know I need to use the cosine rule because it's not a right angle triangle and I don't have a pair. So in this case, I only have 3 sides and I'm looking for the angle. So if I write out my cosine rule, I know that a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. But in this case, I'm looking for angle c. So I'm going to rewrite the formula where cos c is included. So in this case, if I rewrite it, I'll get that c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cos c. Make sure you understand why I've written it like that. So now if I substitute the numbers into the formula, I'll get that 8 squared equals 9 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 9 times 5 cos c. So if I work all this out, I'll get that 64 equals 81 plus 25 minus 90 cos c, because 2 times 9 times 5 is 90. So now I'm going to try and make cos c the subject of the formula. So I'm going to take over the 81 and the 25 to the left hand side, and I'll get that 64 minus 81 minus 25 equals negative 90 cos c. So negative 42 equals negative 90 cos c. So if I divide by the negative 90, I'll get that 42 over 90 equals cos c. So 0.46 recurring equals cos c. If I take over the cos using the inverse operation, I'll get that inverse cos of 0.46 recurring equals c. So c equals 62.1 degrees to the nearest 3 significant figures. So that is the monster of the cosine rule. It's the longest and most complicated formula you need to know for your exam. So I would recommend you practice as much as possible. Well, there you have it, how to use the cosine rule to find either the angle or side of a triangle. Watch my next video where I'll explain how you can decide which formula to use for which problem. And before you go, here's my final challenge. Comment below with your answers.